Okay. Now, children, we did Napoleonic Code. Why people were against the Napoleonic Code? Now, you may tell me one thing. You may say, ma'am, France and the situation in France was not like what it is in India. In India, people speak different languages. In India, we find that there are so many different castes and creed and cultures. There is so much of diversity. And that is the reason why perhaps there is no feeling of nationalism in the hearts of the people, no feeling of patriotism in the hearts of the people. Children, you may say, now we were sometimes under the Rajput dynasty, sometimes Mughal dynasty, sometimes under which dynasty? We were sometimes under one king, sometimes under the other king. Let me tell you one thing, children. What we were in perhaps the 18th and 19th century, latter part of the 18th century, the Europeans had the same situation in the early parts of the 18th and 19th century. They had the same thing. People spoke different languages. People had different cultures. If you talk of Austria, the Habsburg Empire, it was bigger, patchwork. Patchwork means, joining small pieces together. That is what the Habsburg Empire was. A little of this place, a little of that place, a little of this place, and the empire was constructed. Now, everybody had a different notion. Everybody had some different technology. People had different cultures. People have different methods of doing things, children. But they overcame it in time to come. But they were not different from us. Now you may say, ma'am, we had the caste system, which was one of the biggest problems for nationalism. Yes, children. But remember that those people also had their communities divided into three parts. Number one, the aristocrats. And these aristocrats, they were the blue-blooded people, the royal people. They never mixed with the common man. They were a group among themselves. They married among themselves. They had lovely chateaus and manors and big houses and plenty of what we know as farmhouses. They had land and property and everything. They spoke pure French. So they were totally a different culture, never mixed with the common man. They never mixed with the common people. Now, children, second group is a group of peasants or serfs. Peasants are the farmers. Very few farmers had their own land. That was not sufficient. Maximum amount of farmers were serfs working under the landlords, the aristocrats. They were nothing but bondage laborers. They worked on the field, their wives worked in the houses, and they did everything for one particular duke or earl or a baron for generations to generations. And then you had the third category of people. They were called the middlemen. And the middlemen were one category of people, who were perhaps the latest and the best. Now, why do I say latest and best? Because once trade developed, this group of people flourished. People, the small industrialists, they started making factories. Okay, they started making factories. People ran away from the villages, came to work in the factories. Agricultural production decreased. Industrial production rose. They were the educated people, the industrialists, the teachers, the lawyers, the doctors. They became the main heads of society. And they were the ones who actually raised their voices against the autocratic rule. They were the ones who raised their voices against the autocracy. They wanted a rule of the people. They wanted that the people should be ruled by them, by the elected members, chosen by the people. A government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Now, another thing is because, liberalism. People wanted freedom. What does liberalism mean? Liberalism means freedom. People wanted to be free from the aristocrats because many of them could not even rule properly. They did not have the knowledge of the tactics of ruling. They became a ruler because their father was the king, so they became the next king. But they did not have any kind of, maybe administrative knowledge. They did not have anything like that. Now, children see, liberalism meant different for different people. For some people, what was liberalism? Liberalism was without when they got, right to form a government, that is called political liberalism. Economic liberalism was when every bit of trade restriction was stopped. When trade restrictions were stopped and people could go anywhere and they could sell their products. For middle class, liberalism meant equality before law. If I am paying taxes, you of the first and the second estate are also paying taxes. And we have equality before the law. Children, for people, it was also liberalism, meaning no more dying, no more dictates, no more paying taxes, no more being under the control of the first estate and the second estate. So liberalism, the feeling of being free, the feeling of not being captive, this was what was the main thing that was in the hearts and in the minds of the people. Now, kindly note down, heading you put, making of nationalism in Europe. Making of nationalism in Europe. First point. In Eastern and Central Europe, people with diverse cultures lived. In Eastern and Central Europe, people with diverse cultures, lived, and they did not share collective identity. Number two, they belong to different ethnic groups. And spoke different languages. Next point. Habsburg Empire of Austria-Hungary. Habsburg, spelling is Habsburg. RG. Habsburg Empire of Austria-Hungary comprised of Alpine regions, Bohemia, Bohemia, Bohemia. Put in bracket German speaking. Put in bracket German speaking. Lombardy and Venetia. Venetia. Lombardy and Venetia. Venetia. In bracket you put Italian speaking. In bracket you write Italian speaking. Next point. In Hungary, half the people spoke Magyar. Magyar. Half the people spoke Magyar. And the other half spoke different dialects. Next point. In Galicia, spelling of Galicia, Galicia. The autocrats spoke Polish. Now, the next heading you put different classes. Under that, put the heading autocracy. First point. They were socially and politically a dominant class. They were socially and politically a dominant class. Number 2, they owned estates and townhouses. Next, they spoke French. For the purpose of diplomacy. They spoke French for the purpose of diplomacy. Next, their families were connected. Their families were connected by marriage. Next heading, put peasants. Write it in a paragraph form. In the West, the land was farmed by tenants and small farmers. By tenants and small farmers. In the East and Central Europe, they were serfs, S-E-R-F-S. They were serfs, S-E-R-F-S. Next heading, middle class. Next heading, middle class. First point, they comprised of working class population. They comprised of working class population such as industrialists, businessmen, professionals, next point, it was the educated, liberal middle class people who wanted the end of autocratic rule, who wanted the end of autocratic rule. Now children, put the next question and write very, very important in front of this question. What did liberal nationalism stand for? What did liberal nationalism stand for? Number one, middle class, put a dash. Middle class, put a dash. Liberalism meant freedom for individuals and equality before law. And equality before law. Next point, put politically. Politically, put a dash. It emphasized the concept consent. It emphasized the concept of government by consent. Next point, right? Liberalism stood for end of autocracy, end of autocracy, clerical privileges, Next point, liberalism meant having a constitution. Liberalism meant having a constitution and a representative government through parliament. Next point, liberalism meant the right to property. Next point, liberalism meant in the economic sphere. Please highlight economic sphere. S-P-H-E-R-E. Liberalism meant in the economic sphere. Freedom of market, and abolition of state imposed restrictions, on the movement of goods and capital. On the movement of goods and capital. Now, shouldn't I end this class here? I hope you've understood it. It's a little bit of continuation of a brief part that you did in class 9, where you only did the different types of governments. And now here you're studying, and that is only the French. And right here, you're going to study the whole of Europe, right? So liberalism, what you studied in class 9 was totally related to France. Now we're going to do the whole of Europe. In the latter parts of the lesson, we're going to study about, we're going to do about Italy, and we're going to do Germany, we're going to do Britain, and a lot more. So this lesson is going to be a long lesson. We will take it in a slow manner. So we will do it so that you understand it to the best of your capabilities. Children, have a good weekend, and God bless you all.